I'm Daemonxel, and it's time for your Eve Echoes weekly news update. Before we jump into the stories of the week, if you can just tag that subscribe button and ring that bell, then you can stay up to date with everything that this channel has to offer. I want to take this time to touch back on my last video and the outpouring from the community about my future. I want to thank everyone who has extended me offers to join them in their corporations and alliances. Offers flooded my DMs and Discord from all corners of New Eden, including my past enemies. Moving forward, I have decided to stay with my current corporation, Atlas Empire. I have played with this great group of guys and gals since back in Beta 1, and I really just couldn't imagine playing without them. Alright, let's talk about a few coals I got in the fire that I've touched on briefly in past episodes. First, the ENN, the Echoes News Network Discord server. This is almost ready, and I'll be testing the final build this week, and will hopefully have it ready for the Sov patch coming next week. The Content Creator Tournament is still being worked on, and you, the community, have spoken. I put up a poll some time ago, and the winning vote is Cruisers. I'm finalizing the rules, taking down all the participants' names, and I'm going to do a blind draw for seeding the brackets. Once everything's finalized, I'll let you know where, I'll let you know when, and I'll let you know versus who. To help support the channel, I started a while back a coffee site. This is a way for people to support the channel if they like donating $3 here and there to upgrade equipment. I've been toying with the idea of starting a Patreon page, but struggled with what I could provide as exclusive content, being a news station. The only idea I came up with was giving members basic access to the content creator server by means of special requests for strange fits, how this ship would perform in, say, a Dead Space solo, things like that. Again, I'm just toying with the idea, and these are just some ideas rattling around in this old head of mine. We had the patch this week with another 2-hour extension. This was to prep the server and client for the Sov patch, which is going to go live next week. Now, you may have to reinstall the client with the next week's update, and for this, we're all going to receive 50,000 skill points. Players who previously participated on the Sovereignty test server have been sent their skill points for joining this test. This is going to be the 120,000 skill points that were offered, 20,000 for joining the test, 100,000 for helping destroy the station. Now, there have been reports of people receiving the entire 120,000 without even destroying a station. Starting on the 1st of January, players with over 30 days left on their Omega clone status can automatically gain the ability to late claim missing rewards from the previous month. And they increased the number of customizable corporation positions to 10. Okay, boys and girls, the Sov patch called Indomitable is going live January, the 6th of January to be precise. This is going to be the bare bones Sov system at launch, and last week we went over all the bonuses they have planned for Sov to be launched in waves. What I was able to find out is that on launch, the Corp Citadels will be buffed by having their HP and defense of these stations significantly raised. Also, finally, we will have time dilation right along with it. I have confirmation from Joseph that Tie-Dye is set to release with the Indomitable patch. We will also be receiving 50-man fleets in this update as well, and if you read their tweet, TCU's coming. At this time, I've gotten no response from the devs if they have decided to add in TCU's instead of the Corp Station acting as the TCU. In short, gather your minerals and get ready to start building these stations and claim your space. The new year is upon us, and to celebrate, we are gifted with a new gold and copper skin for our pods. Now, I never thought about this and didn't think this is something I would need in my life, but look at it. It does look great. We also had another round of Q&A with the devs, and they graced us with 4 answers, but 2 were really interesting. One was about belts and planets, and what determines a system's total number of belts. And we learned that a system's total number of belts is 70% of the total number of planets in that system. The other question was about PvE content, and the devs assure us that we will be receiving a lot of new PvE content this next year, and we'll learn what is down the road for that content in mid-January. It's now time for your Echoes Market Report. Plex has dropped about 20,000 down to 900k per, and it's a good time to buy. The C-type market has been raising slightly in some areas, such as weaponry, and all faction wrecks are still on the rise. Which begs the question, with the decrease in faction wrecks and Sisters of Eve and Mordor's Legion coming soon in the next year, what astronomical price will these fetch? Another week and another station falls under the weight of Genesis Federation. Some beautiful shots of the station exploding, but I guess you really get good at taking these if you've destroyed as many outposts as they have. The war in the south is all but done, with the remnants being crushed as we speak. This station was in Omsk, and as always, Death Phantom has been unavailable for comment. In the Silent Alliance, there has been a leadership change as Mr. Pay-to-Win has stepped down and handed the reins over to True Beast, the CEO of Pandemic. Pandemic now has become the Executor Corp and have shaken up the diplomatic standings across Declan. True Beast goes on saying that the Matani, the space overlord of Goonswarm in EVE Online, has joined their team as a consultant. Pandemic would like you to know that if you are a content creator, they would love to work with you. And like a Pokemon trainer, Pandemic must catch them all. With all these changes to the Silent Alliance, we will have to keep an eye on them to see what they bring us in 2021. I'm sure this is the story that most of you are tuning in this week to hear. Terran Federation has lost several corps this past week in the leadership fracture. Batman has pulled ATLE out of TF and left Fountain, as several other corps followed suit, picking up and leaving, forging a new path. Aggro, TLC, EVA 1, to name a few, have left. The Aftermath left Terran Federation leadership in shambles as they elected a new leader in Mealworm from the former Red Alliance. Lycander has stepped down to follow his passion as an FC. Now, I've seen a lot of people try to paint Lycander as toxic or elitist, and I have to dispute these claims as I have personally flown with him since launch, and as well as dealing with him outside of the game, he has been nothing but straightforward and a stand-up guy. Terran Federation is going through a rebranding, and my current sources say the new alliance will be renamed to Phoenix. These are definitely trying times during this rebuild. While defending their region from two sides, they suffered yet another blow in the form of a corp turning traitor. PI has shifted allegiances to Pantheon while still under the TF banner. They've leaked CEO chats to Pantheon and gave warping points to previous unknown outpost locations. When this skullduggery was found out, they were expelled and set to red, as well as having their outpost hit by dead. Those that thought that the former Terran Federation were on their knees found out that they still have teeth, as a Pantheon battleship fleet fell to them, losing 6 battleships, totaling in 32.6 billion, according to the kill mails. This happened in 2 separate engagements. The battleship fleet was camped on the YZ gate inside Z3. The Dead and Dune fleet jumped into the camp after receiving bad intel and managed to take out the Balgorn while losing over half the 15-pilot fleet. The fleet reshipped in YZ and put out the call. Within moments, there was now a TF fleet of 40 poised on the Z3 gate. The battleship fleet crossed into YZ directly into the waiting force. The Nightmare uncloaked first, trying to draw attention before the rest of the fleet uncloaked. Calls to scram the Nightmare were issued, while the fleet went down the line, taking out the Vindicators first, then the Rattlesnakes, and then lastly, the Nightmare. While the fleet was taken down, I'm told that Santiago, a Cinnabol pilot, was able to warp out while the fleet had the battleships pinned down. Apparently the problems keep stacking up for Terran Federation, as WECU has now been set to red for also planning to join Pantheon. A source close to the situation has told me that there was a voice comms meeting today because a 3PT outpost that was being shared with WECU was permission locked down, not allowing those pilots to get their ships and belongings out. This voice comms meeting also had a Pantheon delegate in there by the name of Dracos, who at the end of the meeting tried to recruit whoever was left in the channel to Pantheon. The outcome of the meeting was to open the outpost back up for a 3-hour window for everyone to get their stuff. Pantheon also pulled back forces for a 6-hour window, allowing this to happen instead of just attacking the station. The reason they opened this window was because there were other pilots not in 3PT or WECU who also had items stationed there. I caught up with Mealworm for an official statement on the rebranding and restructuring of Terran Federation. Our restructure is going well, and everyone is putting in good work to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Forward motion and progress, and I think we're all headed in the right direction and ready to move forward from the issue of the past. We have a fantastic group of players that are all working together, and interesting parties have now seen we're still here in Fountain. I will keep an eye on how everything turns out in the region and report it back to the channel. Catch-22, a arm of the QC, has taken down 2 stations this week. One, a Terran Federation station in Catch with no resistance. This station belonged to FLBR, one of the biggest collection of Brazilian pilots in Echoes, and I reached out for comment. I was told with the breaking of Death Phantom that the contingent of Brazilian players migrated into FLBR and that they were mostly nomadic. The station in question was not even known to be dropped in Catch and came to a complete surprise when I brought it up to them. The other station was also in Catch and was defended by a small force consisting of Op Force, End, and Fed. After the station fell, Catch-22 beat them to the gate and were able to catch the retreating fleet of Op Force while taking down one of their guardians. I've been put in contact recently with a group called the Coalition, which consists of 6 alliances residing in Pureblind. They want it known that they are currently at war with Silent Alliance and its allies, as well as Obsidian Elite. I will be keeping in touch with them to see what news comes out of their region. Requiem informed me that they are currently leaving Omsk and deploying in Fade to fight Triple V, as well as lend a hand in the fights within Declan. Every week here at the front, I like to highlight exceptional kills, and for those solo kills, give back to the community in the form of an Omega combo. But before we get to the winner and the runners-up, let's look at a few of the high kills of the week. We have these 2 battleship kills from PEW. First is a Macarial, valued at 8.3 billion ISK. And the second, some may say Rattlesnake, but this is a freaking Anaconda, with a value of 12.6 billion. Just look at it. It's obscene. Now, what kills list would be complete without something from Badran? Last week's winner, and surely he did not disappoint. We first have a 2.7 billion Cinnabal kill. And the best to save for last, a 5 billion ISK Gila. Unfortunately, Badran cannot win for another 30 days after winning last week. Now, on to the contest. First, we have Lynn Hart with his impressive 1.1 billion Retriever kill. Next is Mecha DVA with this 2.9 billion Ashimu kill. The first runner-up is Dream Eater with a 3.1 billion Cinnabal kill. And the winner of this week's Omega Combo giveaway is Crintum, with this massive 4.3 billion Terra. Crintum, get with me on Discord to receive your prize. And that does it for this week. I hope everyone has a great new year and a great weekend. But if you need more news in your life, please visit Eve Echoes Radio, New Eden News, and the Echoes of New Eden podcast. Remember, we are always one vision, one purpose, one front.